Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into an exciting topic: how to get a scholarship to study in the UK in 2025. If you dream of studying in one of the most prestigious educational institutions in the world but are concerned about the costs, don't worry, I've got you covered. If you're new, I'm Ashika and I talk about moving across the world to work or study, and with that, let's dive in. The UK continues to be a top destination for international students, attracting over 680,000 international students in 2024. Out of these, thousands were awarded scholarships ranging from partial tuition waivers to full ride packages, because you need to remember that while domestic students in the UK have their tuition capped at £9,200 at the moment, there's no cap on how much international students can have to pay. And depending on which university you study at, the fees can get pretty high. According to reports, more than 20,000 scholarships were granted in 2024, funded by universities, the UK government, and private organizations. These scholarships significantly ease the burden for students worldwide, helping them pursue their dreams in renowned UK institutions. Scholarships in the UK offer more than just tuition fee reductions, but the value of scholarships vary. Some are £1,000 to £2,000 a year, others are close to £50,000 a year. It depends on the scholarship, but here are some of the perks that you can expect. Full tuition and partial tuition coverage. Many scholarships cover a portion or the entirety of your tuition fees. There's also living expenses. Some scholarships include stipends for accommodation, food, and daily expenses. Then there's travel costs. Certain awards cover airfare and transportation. There's also health benefits, which is access to the UK's National Health Service at a reduced or no cost. And in terms of networking opportunities, scholarship holders often gain exclusive access to academic and professional networks, opening doors to internships and jobs. And of course, there's family support, where select scholarships provide allowances for dependents. Now, one way to really bring down those expenses while studying in the UK is to find the right accommodation that not just helps you save, but also gives you peace of mind, because student accommodation in the UK is notoriously bad. Accommodation provided by the university usually gets booked before most people can even get the chance to check them out and try them out. And a lot of accommodation is in pretty bad shape. There's no heating and bad living conditions. All the more reason for you to try Amber, that provides student accommodation near top universities and cities across the UK. There are properties at different price points, and most importantly, a lot of the properties do not require you to have a local guarantor in the UK, and that's helpful if you don't have anyone who can vouch for you here. Many also have the option of getting a refund if you don't get an offer or if you don't get your visa, so I suggest you book your property as soon as you can, because good properties tend to get booked out months in advance. Please use the link in the description to make a booking and for the best offers. Moving on. Here are the top 10 scholarships for students studying in the UK and their details. There's the Achieving Scholarship, which covers tuition fees, living expenses, airfare, and more. And this is valid across 150 UK universities. The deadline is usually early November. In case you're wondering why we're talking about this, we'll first talk about all the best scholarships available in the UK and then move on to the scholarships that are available right now. Next, we have the Commonwealth Scholarships. They offer tuition fees, living allowances, airfare, and thesis grants. And in terms of eligible universities are the member institutions of the Commonwealth. The deadline is usually around December. We also have the Gates Cambridge scholarships, and they usually cover the full cost of studying at the University of Cambridge. In terms of eligibility for universities, it's usually the Cambridge University, and the deadline is either October or January annually. There's also the Rhodes Scholarships. They offer tuition, stipend, and travel costs, and it's eligible for the University of Oxford. The deadline is usually around October every year. There's also Clarendon Fund Scholarships, who cover the tuition and living expenses of scholarship holders, and again, it's for the University of Oxford. The deadline is usually between December and January annually. Then we have the University of Edinburgh Global Scholarships, which offer £10,000 towards tuition. Obviously, the University of Edinburgh is the university that qualifies for this, and the deadline is around June. There's also British Council Great Scholarships, which give you around £10,000 in terms of tuition, and in terms of eligibility of universities, there are over 40 universities. Now, the deadline varies depending on the university. Then we have the University of Westminster Full Scholarships. The value is £3,000 towards the tuition for PG courses and £2,500 for UG courses. The University of Westminster is the university that holds this, and the deadline is usually in June. We also have the Edinburgh Napier University, which is a merit-based scholarship, and the value of the award is around £5,000 for tuition. The eligible university here is the Edinburgh Napier University, and the deadline honestly varies. We also have the Warwick Chancellor International Scholarships. They cover tuition, living allowance, research grant, financial support for immigration to the UK, and it's for the University of Warwick only. The deadline is usually around December. Now, here are the top 10 scholarships available for applications as of January 25. We have the University of Bristol Think Big Scholarships, which offer around £20,000 towards tuition, and the deadline is the 28th of Feb. To be eligible, you had to have applied to a UG course at the University of Bristol with the exception of medicine, dentistry, and veterinary science. You also need to start your undergraduation course in September 25 and should be classed as an overseas student for fees-paying purposes. Next, we have the Queen Mary Global Excellence Scholarships. They offer 5,000 tuition discount and they award 440 awards. In terms of the deadline, there's no deadline. Students apply after receiving an offer for a PG course. To be eligible, there are certain countries that are eligible and you can see the entire list here. Now, this covers all of the courses and the degree needs to be an honours degree or an equivalent. You should hold an offer for an eligible postgraduate taught program for September 25-26. Next, we have the Sheffield Hallam University Transform Together Scholarships, which offer 50% tuition reduction. The deadline is the 31st of May 25. In terms of eligibility, it's for UG and PG courses and students should be self-financing their studies. They should also have been offered a place on a full-time undergraduate degree or a postgraduate taught course at Sheffield Hallam University starting in September 25. Then we have the Imperial College London President's PhD Scholarships, which offer full tuition, living costs up to $25,224 per year and a consumables fund of $2,000 per year. They award 50 awards and the deadline is the 1st of March. To be eligible, this needs to be a PhD course. You should have a first class or equivalent in an undergraduate or integrated master's degree, and it considers candidates from Imperial College London, the UK, and worldwide. Next up, we have the University of Sussex Chancellor's International Scholarships. The value for the scholarships is £5,000 and the deadline is 30th of April. To be eligible, you should be taking up a place on a full-time master's degree starting September 25. You should be self-financing and you should have exceptional academic grades. There's also the Loughborough University International Scholarships where they give you a 25% discount on tuition fees. There's no real deadline because you automatically get considered when you apply to the university. Now, in terms of the eligibility, you have to be self-funded and your first choice of university should have been the Loughborough University through the UCAS. We also have the University of Reading IFP Country Scholarship. They offer $3,000 towards your tuition and the deadline is in Jan. The eligibility includes not being sponsored international students and you should enroll on an IFP course. Next, we have the Reading Excellence Scholarship, which offers $4,000 towards tuition per year. The deadline again is January. Now, in terms of the eligibility, you should have extremely good academic merit. You should have received an offer of admissions to one of the undergrad courses at the University of Reading. Coming up next is UAL ISH. The value is $50,000 towards tuition, accommodation and living costs. And the deadline is the 20th of June 2025. They're offering 5 scholarships under this program. In order to be eligible, you need to be from one of these countries mentioned here. You should also be enrolled in a part-time or full-time master's course at UAL, and your household income needs to be £55,000 or less. There's also British Council grade scholarships like we discussed earlier. The value is $10,000 and the deadline varies depending on the university. For the University of Edinburgh, for instance, the deadline is 30th of April. The University of Manchester has 24th April as their deadline. In terms of the number of awards awarded, it's 200, but it depends on which country you're from. There are about 27 universities that offer scholarships to Indians alone, and the numbers change depending on which country you're applying for. In terms of eligible universities, about 70 universities across England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland are eligible under this program. Now, let's talk about tips on how you can improve your chances to secure a scholarship. Here are some actionable tips to boost your chances. First off, start early. Research scholarships at least 1 year in advance. Next up, you need to absolutely tailor your applications. Customizing your essays and your documents to align with the scholarship goals will help you stand a better chance. You also need to maintain excellent academics. Strong grades make a significant difference. In some of the programs that we've covered today, you need to be extremely academically gifted, and if you are, you will be in turn rewarded by amazing scholarships. You also need to highlight your leadership skills, showcase extracurricular activities and community service. And you need to secure strong references. Get letters of recommendation from professors or mentors who know you well. Also remember to follow the instructions. Ensure all of your documents are submitted in the correct format and on time. And remember to practice for interviews. If required, prepare thoroughly for scholarship interviews by either practicing with friends or with a camera and recording yourself. That's it for today's video. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.